Ladies and gentlemen, we welcome you to episode number 22 of the Primetime Rundown right here on the Eastern Observer. We cannot thank you enough for joining us here this Friday evening, April 17th, alongside, I can officially say it, alongside my two guys, Nick Partain and Tyler Adelle. I'm Joey Jarzynka, and we were just talking off camera about Tyler making a grand entrance, but unfortunately that couldn't work. Otherwise, he would have probably turned blue while waiting.
Yeah, I'm choking right now.
Yeah, exactly. So again, we cannot thank you all enough for being on here on YouTube. Really, really good show ahead. We have the NFL draft coming up next week. There's going to be a lot to talk about the rest of the time. Tyler, talk about your you being a part of this officially now. You are now one of us, and I think it is made official with the banner. And do not discredit Nick, because that kitchen is absolutely gorgeous. With the that is the perfect
right.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I mean,
don't worry, he's gonna get one too, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, obviously, I wanted to commit to this back when we started up around last July over the summer. Things had obviously come up, and I wasn't able to give you the full commitment that I would have wanted to. But now that things have changed and I can be here, I'm very happy to be here and soon take your job.
There we go. So it's going to be, yeah, exactly. So as he's drinking a Coke can, we are not sponsored by them or getting paid by them by any means. So, yeah, so that's great. Not only are you going to be taking my job, you're also going to be taking whatever money I have in my piggy bank, because that's copyright. So now let's get things started with the first 5 picks of the NFL draft. Haha, just kidding, Tyler. I did tell you that we're not going to discuss that now. But the biggest thing right now that's going on here that I do want to land on is the running back market. And Nick, you and I have had that discussion multiple times before, where the running back market, you can pick up running backs off the street. And it's very evident where you're going to see players such as Devonta Freeman, who at one point was a top tier running back, potentially top 10 in the league. Even at times, I think just 2 years ago, top 5 even. LaShawn McCoy, Chris Thompson, Lamar Miller, Carlos Hyde, Theo Riddick, who was the godsend for PPR in fantasy football. And also, don't forget, most likely future Hall of Famer Frank Gore is also still out on the market. Nick, talk about, obviously, the impact that any running back coming out of college this year, especially in a historical wide receiver draft, how these guys could just be pushed all the way to the back burner.
Well, yeah, like you said, receivers are the ones getting the most attention, plus there being a lot of free agent running backs available. The problem is most of the guys you mentioned that are free agents have injury concern, and with the inability to have medical testing on these guys, it makes it very difficult for those guys to get jobs. So running backs might get bumped up a little more than you think, because nobody wants to take risks on some of these free agents, and they're going to need, depth at running back. We've seen every year teams need 3 or 4 to help in every type of situation. Guys get hurt, things like that. So while the running back market isn't getting the attention and it's not as deep or as talented, there's still going to be a couple of names that make big impacts early on. DeAndre Swift might be a first-round pick. J.K. Dobbins is borderline first, second round. So there is talent there in the market, but we've seen so many times these conversations that we've had that the 3rd and 4th round picks that nobody's ever heard of are the ones that end up making incredible impacts out of nowhere over and over again. The Alvin Kamaras of the world, going back, Matt Forte, guys like that drop a little bit and aren't in the spotlight, end up having these huge roles on good teams because they're valuable later on. Because as you've seen, running backs are such a product of the environment around them. A good line, a good scheme, good receiving ability, all these things can make even a mediocre talent look really good in a good system.
Right. And the same thing goes with do teams want to take a chance like how the Green Bay Packers did years ago with Eddie Lacy? You see how well that turned out, and that was an absolute dumpster fire, to say the least. You obviously have a Saquon Barkley, who is obviously a freak of nature. You have Ezekiel Elliott, who is another freak of nature. But those guys, they thought that Eddie Lacy would be a part of that conversation, and they failed miserably because I don't even know if he could sell car insurance right now. it's sad. Honestly, it's sad, but that's why, and you spoke about J.K. Dobbins too. He was a star running back, one of the best running backs. Obviously Zeke, up there, but I'm talking about like in the top 5 in Ohio State history. He's up there, and it's annoying because you look at, like I said, maybe there might be, the injury risk, or, because the wide receiver, the historical impact that this wide receiver, I guess, class could have, maybe a team that would be susceptible to taking a running back in the 3rd or 4th round might say, you know what, I'm just going to go with another wide receiver or a different position, because, well, even though that we have these guys, the aforementioned Freeman, the McCoys of the world, Thompsons, well, there are a lot of good players out there like these guys, yes, with an injury history, but still could get the job done. And you saw it and I don't want to gloat, but just a few years ago when the Eagles picked up LeGarrette Blount, and he was a one-year wonder. Well, not one-year wonder, because he won the Super Bowl with the Patriots the year before, but just that one pickup could be a game changer. And you don't know if these guys could be. So that's what I'm saying. Do they really want to risk a guy? And I'm not saying Dobbins, because Dobbins is definitely a 2nd or 3rd or maybe even 1st round talent, but would someone want to take that risk if they don't, if they need like a 2nd or 3rd running back?
Probably not if it's a 2nd or 3rd running back. If you're going to draft a guy like Swift or Dobbins, you're looking for a franchise back who can carry the load that you're going to basically run into the ground over the next couple of years while they're still cheap. That's basically what it's become with running backs, is
right.
That use them while they're young, while they still have their legs under them, and give them everything they've got in their prime, because running back prime is really day of draft to 3 or 4 years down the road. It's not the same as other players where they can hit their peaks at 26, 27. These guys are peaked now.
Yeah.
So it's not going to be a team that has depth at running back already. And like you said, with the receiver draft being so rich, teams near the end of the 1st round that might be considering a running back might see more value in a stud wide receiver that wouldn't normally get to them at the end of the 1st round. But this year, because of the crop, might be a better value for them.
Tyler, you got all right. And this is something else here. Listen, you are going to get the rookie hazing. Let me tell you this, okay? When Nick is done talking, all 3 of us are supposed to chime in. This is a radio show. Chime in, interrupt us, yell at us.
I agree with what he's saying. I'm not going to interrupt him.
All right. Well, I mean, well, you could, if you want, listen, if you want to try and take my job, you have to try and be like Stephen A. Smith a little bit.
Well, I make Stephen A. Smith look like a rookie, but whatever. Well, it's one of those things again, this running backs aren't rich to a team as they used to be anymore. And unless you're, 20, 21, 22 years old coming straight out of the draft, where they know they can use you until you're 30. Like just as an example sake, like a guy like Devonta Freeman, who's still a free agent right now, he had his own kind of, I guess, reasoning for, I guess, being a free agent as long as he is, and or staying a free agent.
Injury history. Exactly what Nick said. Yeah.
Very big injury history with his concussions and any other thing that may have burdened him. But it's one of those things, again, where running backs are a dime a dozen right now. It's like when you look at the Texans, they took in that absurd David Johnson contract, but they lost both Lamar Miller and, if I'm correct, Carlos Hyde in the process. So they lost 2 of their running backs.
Yeah, Hyde was a free agent. So,
yeah. Well, you know what I mean. But it was like they can be replaced like that. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's.
And the crazy part too, also, is that you look at a team where you saw last year, Kenyon Drake, for instance, where you have or from what you'd figure is an up and coming running back, and one that, really was the lead back once. I think just who was it that was he traded from the Dolphins? I don't remember exactly, in front of Drake 2 years ago. Right. Yeah. My goodness, that's terrible. Ajayi, of course. When Ajayi, yeah, exactly, and he was on the Eagles Super Bowl team as well, and he's gone too. He's gone from the league as well. So you look at a guy like Ajayi, and he was traded, and then you have someone who really, well, you don't know if this guy can make that next step. And Kenyon Drake did once he was traded to Arizona, which makes David Johnson expendable, but valuable to another team. And then, then that crosses the Texans off the list of in need of a running back. So that's why, as I'm seeing this more and more, Nick 1, Joey 0, because we've had this for the last 20 episodes. And the last 20 episodes, I think at one point, Nick has said that running backs are a dime a dozen and they could be picked up like pennies off the ground. Didn't use that exact analogy, but that's my piece.
Obviously, the Panthers didn't listen to that.
But you know what, though? Again, Christian McCaffrey, though, is another one that is cashing in. But he's also used like an Alvin Kamara type player as well. He's used for screens. He's also used in the receiving game as well. Just signed a 4-year deal. I believe it was worth about $64 million. So it's about $16 million per year. Nick, you're our math guy as per usual. I don't know the exact guaranteed value on it, but the Panthers or Christian McCaffrey rather, did cash in on that. And you also saw his girlfriend, Olivia Culpo, celebrating on Twitter and on Instagram. So that was pretty cool. So yeah, so they got that. Also something very, very tragic happened this past week. For those that don't remember, but at one point, starting quarterback for the Vikings. Yeah, that's crazy. At one point, after Brett Favre, actually, Tavares Jackson passed away tragically in a car crash, and just like that, your life could be over. And he backed up Russell Wilson for I believe it was in Super Bowl 48. He backed him up, and I remember him as a decent quarterback who was able to do a little bit here and there. He was able to come in when needed, but. And he was also with the Bills too, you know. It's sad. Life just comes at you quick.
Yeah, especially during a time where not as many people are driving. You wouldn't assume car accident would be so prevalent now. And it really is crazy to think of a guy who was just in the league. Like, he couldn't have been retired that long. He had the whole life ahead of him, kind of the same way Kobe Bryant did. Like, his real life is just starting now, and now it's over.
Right. And that's the biggest thing too, is that you said it, and not many people are driving. And again, this is not a religious show by any means, but I will say this. And if it's your time, you're heading up there. It's simple as that. You could be sitting here and you could have a massive coronary, and it's over. That's it. It's plain and simple. And these are words. What? Okay. Time out a minute. Time out a second. Hold on a second. Ladies and gentlemen, let me just finish my thought. The three of us can have, whatever it is. It could be a car accident. It could be a heart attack. It could be a stroke. It could be anything that's tragic. But
the way we eat, it's going to be one of the latter.
That's true. That is true. But all joking aside, though, it really is the truth. It could be at any point exactly what Nick said. Not many people are driving now, and it was just his time to go. Breaking news here: 6:16. Usually we do 6:31, but we'll do 6:16. Tyler put something around his soda can. I need to see this, and the viewers need to see this too.
He gave me such a hard time for trying to get us in trouble by Coke, so I made sure that I specified this was not.
Wow, not a Coke. Okay, well, then I guess that this is not a draft cup from the 2012.
Put that away. I don't want to get
draft.
Food.
That's all right. This was actually the year that I met Roger Goodell. So if you're watching,
my condolences.
There we go.
For Roger.
Right, exactly. So back to Tavares Jackson. I want to just pull up his statistics.
Might not want to.
Yeah, I was gonna say I definitely don't want to, but I think that the just in case if I can grab this here, he was a second round pick out of Alabama State. He was also a coach at one point. It looks as if that he took a graduate assistant role at Alabama State, and then he was named QB coach last year for Tennessee State. So he wasn't selling car insurance after he was done. So that's that's at least a positive. You're
nice.
Staying in say it again.
Because you got a car accident, you're gonna make us selling car insurance.
Honestly, that was
terrible.
That was my bad.
You're a horrible human being. I thought I was a bad person, but
I'm sorry. Please, God, forgive me. I honestly just slipped out of my mouth. I didn't even realize that. But yeah. So I do our condolences from everyone at the Eastern Observer, the Primetime Rundown, Blackjack Media Networks, are with Tavares Jackson and his family. Now let's look to the Motor City in Detroit. And Damon Snacks Harrison, defensive tackle, retired a months ago, right after the season ended. And there was rumors that he had the back problems, the neck issues. But now apparently he was, quote, hell-bent, end quote, on getting out of Detroit. With 2 years left on the deal, fellas, Matt Patricia, in New England, it worked. What's going on in Detroit?
Everything.
I think it comes down to a new coach came in, wanted to use his own personnel. Harrison was already there. One of those things where he wasn't picked by Patricia, so he might have lost out some favor in the locker room, wasn't played as much, wasn't respected as a starter, maybe had to compete more than he thought he would. And all these things, we see this a lot with players when a new regime comes in, that either the coach GM combo drives them out or the player themselves doesn't want to play for this next set of guys. I don't think it's wholly an indictment on Patricia. I mean, it could be. We don't know the exact details, but it could very well be that a new regime came in and didn't want him there, and he just kind of felt that and decided to take it upon himself.
But the problem also is that you're getting guys and I'm not saying that Darius Slay is a superstar, but in Detroit he was the anchor of that defense. He came out publicly when he was traded to Philadelphia, and he said also that in Detroit it wasn't good. So even though he wants his own personnel, he traded for Duron Harmon now. He's again getting guys. I think Jamie Collins signed there as well. In free agency, that is.
Flowers last year too. Right,
exactly. So there's just a lot of these. He's trying to bring in the Patriot way into Detroit, and a lot of these players are not having it. Tyler, your thoughts on Detroit? Well, first off, Detroit as a whole, but really the Lions.
Detroit as a whole has been an absolute dumpster fire for as long as I can remember. I mean, 60 seasons of professional football for the franchise's history, only 12 playoff appearances. Yeah. The last only being in 2016, but still, it's a team that probably shouldn't have made the playoffs to begin with.
Right. And not only that, too, we also remember that they got bounced in the Superdome by New Orleans. And I remember that there was a tiebreak. Sorry?
2016, they were bounced by Seattle in the wild card.
Then the year before, I think it was the year before, 2 years prior, was at the Superdome, and they got bounced real quick. But go on. Yeah.
Detroit's, they've been a problem for a very long time. It seems no matter what they do, they just can't get out of their own way. Losing, having Calvin Johnson retire as early as he did with only 8 seasons played definitely, I would say, threw a curveball in their offense a little bit. I don't think anybody saw that one coming. That definitely sets them back a little bit. It's just, for a team, and we've seen it in all sports where when a team just isn't meshing and no one can get on the same page, no matter what they do, no matter where their draft spot, they can have the number 1 pick every year, they can have 32nd. It's just never gonna get better without. I don't even know how you would get them all to be on the same page at this point. you've tried new coaches, you've tried new players. The only constant they've had on that team since 2009 is Matt Stafford. And I kind of refuse to believe that he's the problem there. I mean, he's still putting up fairly decent numbers with garbage. It's one of those things where they're just not giving him the talent around. They're not putting the talent around Matt Stafford to succeed there.
Well, that's also another thing too, is that you look at their roster and you see guys like, these are not household names that they have on this team. Kerryon Johnson. They drafted Bo Scarborough from Alabama. They just signed from the Green Bay Packers, Geronimo Allison to be alongside Marvin Jones. Kenny Golladay, don't forget him. Really, on paper, the Lions have a solid foursome of wide receivers. Like I said, Marvin Jones, even like I said, Golladay, Danny Amendola. And then exactly what we were talking about earlier: Trey Flowers, Deshaun Hand, Danny Shelton, Jonathan Wynn, Jamie Collins, Duron Harmon. The list goes on with these. Oh, and actually they did sign Desmond Trufant, which is like, one of those pick-me-ups from Atlanta when he was released. But yeah, I don't know exactly what's going on there. It might not be good, and we may not see another win in Detroit, or another winning season in Detroit, for a very long time. It's been a while. I don't even know when the last time they won a playoff game was. I think it was before we were born.
More than
I think it was like 20 years ago, I think, at the earliest, very earliest. And also, and don't forget also they've never won a Super Bowl. They've been in the league since 1934. And they've only had since 1999 3 playoff appearances, and 17 total playoff appearances. It's really, really sad. And in that year that Tyler, you were saying, Seattle bounced Detroit 26-6. Not a good thing if you are the Ford family and
so it's one of the Lions. At this point, you kind of look at the whole thing, and if it was one of you two, what would even be the first step in trying to fix anything?
I mean, they tried. They took on an up-and-coming coordinator. They fired a coach who had been there for a while that people liked, that had some success in playoff appearances. They finally moved on from him after a couple of disappointing seasons. You try changing the regimes a couple of times. It's really all you can do. The owners seem like good people. It seems like a decent organization. They have a quarterback, like you said. Stafford has never been the problem, ever. He's a solid, if not spectacular, quarterback. This past year, he got hurt halfway through the year. He was playing amazing football, and they were like borderline decent. They just have to get everything pulling in the same direction. I feel like the years that their offense is cooking, their defense isn't great. The years their defense is great, their offense isn't great. Special teams is a problem. They have so many heartbreaking losses over the years. We've seen Aaron Rodgers hit him with a Hail Mary. We've seen so many last second or fourth quarter collapses. They just have to get over the hump. They have to get everything going at once. And they need some luck, to be honest. And a division that's been
sides of the
brutal
ball,
too.
Half and half one year. They still have it. You could still get a 9-7, 10-6 record out of the team, but they've never just had okay years at the same time on either side of the ball. I mean, you see plenty of times where, perfect example, the Giants back in 2008, they had an okay year on both sides of the ball and somehow managed to win a Super Bowl. So it's, you don't have to be complete all-stars on either end of the ball to get something going. And that's one thing that Detroit has absolutely been lacking in. I don't know. The last time they were probably good was Abe Lincoln might have been around, but
yeah. So you say that too, Nick, where Matthew Stafford was really having a fantastic year. In 8 games played last year, he had and don't laugh, but he did have a 106 quarterback rating, but he was 2 touchdowns shy from his high in 2018, where he played a full 16 games. He had 21 touchdowns, 11 picks. In 2019, in only 8 games played, he had 19 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. He was going on to have I mean, I don't think it was going to be a 2011 year where he had a career high 41 touchdowns, but I think it would have been.
He could have came close.
It could have been in the 30s where he eclipsed 30, where he had 32 in 2015 in 16 games. He had a career high in completion percentage, 67.2 that year. So you're right. It's not Stafford. It's the players. Maybe it's the meshing with the Patriot way and the original foundation that was laid in Detroit, by guys like Jim Schwartz, Jim Caldwell, these guys that are now coordinators and out of the league respectively. It's not working. In Detroit.
Take into account the fact that, going into 8 games last year, he had, 19 touchdowns and 5 interceptions.
Yeah.
You take the other 8 games and, you match that, and he's got 38 touchdowns and 10 interceptions. That could have been enough to get something. I don't want to say it would have gotten them into the playoffs. It definitely would have helped their case, but in a way, it's kind of maybe a good thing that they're able to get a top 3 pick right now. Because right now they need to build, if they're going to keep Matt Patricia around and he's the long-term answer for this team, they're going to want to draft these guys and build them in the Matt Patricia system.
Yeah, they need their defense to get back to where it was. They had a decent defense a couple of years ago. They have an offense. We saw Stafford succeed. We just named all the receivers, the running back, Kerryon Johnson and Bo Scarborough, both young guys. The offensive line is decent. You got to get the defense fixed. Their secondary now is really barren right now. You traded Darius Slay. You traded Quandre Diggs during last season. You have a top 3 pick. They are very, very likely candidate to trade down and amass more picks. You need to get some impact players for your secondary so you can stop the bleeding when Stafford's putting up these numbers. But like I mentioned before, I didn't get to really expand on, their division has been brutal this whole time.
Yeah.
Because every year, either Green Bay, Chicago, or Minnesota is great. Every single year. And often it's 2 of those teams are playoff teams. So for Detroit to be able to get out of that division into the playoffs is no small feat. They can't be a mediocre team and expect to make the playoffs. You need to go out and win 10, 11 games to have a shot. Even then you're going to be fighting. So they need to absolutely get things going 100% correctly for this to work out.
Yeah, that's another thing they need to really take that needs to be considered is the division they play in. That's an extremely tough division. When Aaron Rodgers is on his game, Green Bay can't be touched. The Vikings are starting to become a consistent team up there in that division with them. Yeah, and Chicago is, again, they're also starting to come back into their own. So Detroit, the way it looks right now would almost seem as if without a division realignment, Detroit's screwed in that division. But they've shown plenty of times, especially when they're playing the division games, when they were at their worst or at their best, they can still hang with these teams.
They beat Minnesota twice last year somehow.
Yes, they did.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And the way and go ahead, Tyler.
No, I'm pretty sure that was 2 of their 3 wins against Minnesota.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Nick brought up Minnesota, and that's kind of actually where I want to segue into. There was a tweet by Charles Robinson, Yahoo NFL sports writer, that he tweeted about Odell Beckham Jr. being shopped by the Browns and potentially traded to the Minnesota Vikings for, it looked like, I think it was a 2nd round pick and a 3rd round pick. Apparently that was completely false. And he heard a few things there. But the reason why I want to bring this up is because we do have about 10 minutes here until our new special, the WWE Raw special, WWE SmackDown.
Yeah, we're going to be debuting the show name for you too, so get ready.
Right, exactly. So yeah, so that's going to be a lot of fun in about 10 minutes. But something that I do want to bring up here, just a few, and again, I don't want to make this about me, but this has to be said here to those aspiring journalists that are out there. So I am one of those aspiring journalists, but this is something that also Jay Glazer did a couple of days ago that kind of irked me, and I want to hear Nick's thoughts about this, because I know Nick is very vocal on Twitter about certain things. Tyler as well. Well, Tyler looks not as vocal as Nick, but I want to hear, and I didn't see Nick say anything about it, so I want to hear it from the man himself. So if for those that don't know, again, as we did say, there was the rumor with Odell Beckham Jr. being traded to Minnesota. That was wrong. But then also just a few days ago, Jay Glazer had come out publicly and said that we have breaking news in the NFL that could be, like one of those Wojnarowski bombs. Okay. And this would impact the NFL humongous. Now, the reason, or that tweet that he had posted, was about the LA Rams center, Bryan Allen, contracting the coronavirus. As an aspiring reporter, and for Tyler that wants to take over my job, don't ever do that. Don't ever do that. Because I see both sides of it. And the one side of it is that this is a humongous story that could potentially be, I don't want to say career opening, but for a Jay Glazer, who has the credibility of being, first off, he's on Fox Sports every Sunday during football season. He's also made cameo appearances on HBO's Ballers throughout all 6 seasons while it was on the air with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. And him being the reporter that he is, he's very good at what he does. Now, for it to hype it up for something like this is disgusting. In the midst of a coronavirus or pandemic that we are in, I don't care what it is. You keep your mouth shut until you want to release it, and you make sure that your sources are correct. You do not go out there and say that this is humongous, because people were thinking it was a massive trade. People were thinking it was a massive signing. They don't know. But to have the bombshell of that and to tweet it out the day before that this is big news. Yes, it is big news, but it's not tweet the day before worthy. Back to my point with Charles Robinson. You need to trust your sources. You need to make sure that the credibility of these people are on the up and up, and that these ideas or the information that you get sounds legit. You're confirming it with other people, and you're not just tweeting out trash. And I will tell you this, and Nick has sent me stuff on YouTube, on Yahoo NFL stuff, and just Yahoo Sports in general. It is hilarious that the stuff they put up. But I can almost guarantee you, if someone else or from the official Yahoo NFL account who has a contract with the NFL, something like this can damage your career. And something of this magnitude with a player like Odell Beckham on a team that not only needs a full restart and just an implosion of a franchise in the Browns, but also a team in the Vikings who also technically needs a number 1/2 wide receiver. Yes, you have Adam Thielen, but okay, he needs someone else on the other side. And this would be humongous. Nick, I want to hear your thought about the Jay Glazer thing. And I know that, you're not in the media, so, there's certain things, but you're very understandable with a lot of this stuff that I see.
Yeah, I totally agree that it was unprofessional what he did. I missed all of this when it was going on live on Twitter. I never ended up seeing any of his tweets or understanding what was going on until days later when I finally read what was actually happening.
It was your original tax day, of course.
Right. Yeah, I have nothing to do with that.
Exactly right. Yeah.
So it's unprofessional to hype up bad news. You don't do that. You don't create buzz about something that's going to come out that's going to hurt somebody's reputation, that's not going to be something people are happy about. You don't do that. If it's a trade or something, of course, sure. But when it comes to somebody's health, that's really not something you should be doing. As you were talking about, Jay Glazer is excellent. I've seen him break a lot of things. He's very on top of rumors and things like that. So it's very uncharacteristic for him to make such a massive faux pas like this. I believe he's come out and apologized and everything, but yeah, this was a mistake. You can't do that. That's absolutely despicable. He better be really sorry. I hope he apologized, not only to the media, but to the center himself for creating that kind of hype around something that doesn't deserve it.
Yeah. And Tyler, I want you to touch upon this, but I do want to say this today. we had a conference call with Kevin Harlan from NFL on CBS, and we actually touched upon something like that. And I'll sound off on this. Kevin did say, he did touch upon it very little, but you heard it in his voice where it was not professional. Something that a few other media members or aspiring media members, they would write in the chat that, don't ever do this. And there were people who called games for ESPN Plus for certain schools, for certain Division I universities. Never, ever do that, because if someone, if you're not a Jay Glazer, a Laura Oakman, a Kevin Harlan, the Harlans of the world, whoever it is with a known reputation, they're going to kick your ass out so fast. And it's simple. It is. It's simple. I just said that over the air. I'm sorry, but it's the truth. For someone that wants to get in that field and to be, okay, you're, shake it off now. You have a big money contract on Fox, I'm sure. You are, again, you've been on HBO, you've been on Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson show, whatever. Okay, but don't do it again. And for those aspiring journalists, do not do it. Tyler, I want to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, I understand the point of being in the media and being a journalist is, and you want to be the first person to break a story. I do get that. With the unfortunate circumstances this year, back with everything that happened with Kobe Bryant back in January, everybody remembers that, it wasn't right away. Obviously, we waited. It was, more details came out about the entire thing, but, TMZ, I don't want to name drop, but that's who it was, where, they had.
But that's a legitimate fact. That's a legitimate fact. TMZ was the one that dropped it. Go on.
They were, they dropped it first, which is okay. Somebody's got to break the news, but they were trying to, be really shady with some of the pictures they got. It has since come out that they did have some not so family friendly pictures of the crash, trying to sell them off, trying to get permission to use them. It's, there's a certain way you handle a business. And obviously that's not the way to do it. And it's, doing it there's a difference between getting at something without a source, and starting, I guess, the rumor mill. Which we've obviously we see it a lot during NHL free agency, the NFL draft.
Oh yeah,
where rumors start to rumble about trades and all this, and that's one thing. But when you're talking about someone's personal well-being, it's you got to make sure you're spot on 100%.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, I can't agree, and I cannot agree enough, especially as a journalist. You have to make sure that you are spot on. Just one quick second. We are going to get Tyler's friend Al Carl on the air. But I do want to ask one more question before we do. In the NFL realm, the Cleveland Browns, they have unveiled brand new uniforms. Guys, what do we think? I think, honestly, they look fantastic because they are the old uniforms.
Yeah, it's a nod right back to the old uniform. They're not overdoing it. They're not underdoing it. It's exactly what the Browns jersey should be. And again, like we were talking last week, it's a very it's more complex of a color scheme to work with than it should be. And the one they have that they know works is the one they should keep using.
Yeah, I love them. I thought it looked great. Of all the three that have come out this offseason, I think they're the best ones. They kept it simple. It's a color scheme. You're right. That's hard to work with. You can't get too complicated with two colors like that because they're not exactly like bright or, all that aesthetically pleasing, brown and orange, like a burnt orange. So it's tough to be able to make something look good that way, but I love what they did. There's a lot of white in there. There was missing one with brown jersey, orange pants. I thought would look nice. That's one that they've cut out of the rotation, but all in all, I think they look great. I think they look better than the other two that came out.
And Joe, before we jump back over really quick, I have to ask if you saw the new the Eagles jerseys.
I have not.
No, yeah. I heard the Charger one was coming out too. That's supposed
to be the new Eagle jersey. It's really weird. It resembles those big black construction bags.
I knew it. I knew he was gonna say that. I knew he was gonna say that. I knew it. I knew it.
I had to. I'm sorry.
I knew. I had. As he was saying it, I was like, okay, it's either the Kelly Green or he's gonna make a joke, and I had to go with the latter.
With that trash bag design, does it already come with Manning on the back, or?
Remember, this is a PG show. This is made for kids.
You're the one who was
YouTube.
cursing, buddy. That's not us.
That's all right. That's all right. Listen.
All right, let's go.
On mainstream, you can say ass. We're letting Al in right now, but while that does go in, I do want to say this I got from your local supermarket. One of the best, if you're a Lakers fan or even a basketball fan. This is actually 96 pages, but an amazing read if there is, if you don't have anything else to do, or, want to clean the house or anything. Al, this is for you too. This 96 page book with dedicated to Kobe. Tyler, I remember you showed me the Sports Illustrated book that was like 100 something pages. Hasn't come in the mail yet. But this really is great if you're a Lakers fan.
Yeah, if you want to take a walk down a bunch of old and good memories from Kobe Bryant's career, that's definitely two things you should pick up soon.
For sure. So now I'm going to turn it over to our number 2 moderator here and our host. There you go. Right. Exactly. So Tyler's going to have back-to-back segments, and it's going to start off with WWE Raw. He's going to give predictions for WWE SmackDown, and he's also going to promote his brand new podcast on our network, The Eastern Observer. And also his friend Al Carl. Tyler, please take it away.
Yeah, I mean, you pretty much said everything I wanted to say, so thanks for that.
You are welcome.
Then I'm gonna chime in real quick. Then I saw the Facebook post last week. Tyler, congratulations on being promoted to sheriff. I'm sure this is a great honor bestowed upon you, and I'm sure you're gonna take your cowboy hat and your shiny new badge and run with it, brother.
Yeah, I'm coming. That's what I'm wearing that to the first.
Well, hold on. Well, now I do want to interrupt this and Al just tuning in now and welcome again. Cannot thank you enough for
happy to be
joining
here,
us
man.
on the Primetime Rundown. Now, of course. But Tyler's first day on duty is to make a Coke can say not really Coke or whatever he did, not a Coke. That is and he did it on a ripped piece of paper. I
don't want to get
Go ahead, Tyler. I'm taking too much of your time.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have a new podcast starting up in the next about 2 to 3 weeks. It's going to be based off of wrestling. It's going to be Raw, SmackDown, NXT. We're going to touch up on NXT UK, and we're going to touch up on AEW. Al, would you like to let everybody know what name we decided to go with?
Yeah, actually, it's because of pretty much this is where it's coming in my head right now. Very, very big week in professional wrestling this week. A lot going on, shows coming up and whatever. But the biggest thing I think that happened in the midst of all this craziness and everything that's going on in the world right now, everything's shut down, professional wrestling got deemed essential. I think that is great. And I want to say, this is how it went in my head, that the people over at the Eastern Observer, they heard this news. They're like, okay, well, we got to start making wrestling essential in our company as well, in our brand as well. And that's where they went with you, Tyler. And thank you very much for having me on here. Tyler, thank you for picking me, I guess, as your quote-unquote deputy, right? I'm your deputy now, your co-host. So maybe I got to get a cowboy hat and a little badge too. I don't know. But yeah, so we are essential. We are now essential in this world. So that's what we're going to go with. We're going to go with the Essential Wrestling Podcast. I think the timing of this is perfect. And Tyler, I guess this is the first question. This is the most important thing that's happened in the world. Wrestling is essential. What are we thinking here?
It makes sense in the sense of the fact that it's confined to the way it's being handled, where it's confined to the performers needed for the show, a handful of backstage personnel and nobody else. It makes a lot of sense that they're still able to run this, and that the fact that they're able to keep the talent safe as well. I love the fact that they're still essential because it gives me something to watch, because I can't watch repeats of WrestleMania anymore. Yeah. I'm losing my mind. But yeah, I think it's a big move for them.
To tell you the truth, thinking about this, and I was having a conversation with somebody else I have absolutely no idea what else is on Monday nights, because if it's not football during football season and it's Raw, and Raw's been on for 25, 30-something years now, I have no idea what's on Monday nights. And now since SmackDown moved to Fridays, I have a very fiance who's upstairs right now, happy that I'm home Friday nights watching wrestling with her. So I'm not going out being a clown. So this is great for me. I love it. And you know what? The more the merrier. I'm happy we're able to go forward with it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's definitely a lot to be covering this week. It was a much bigger week and not just sports, but wrestling in general. We have a lot of these wrestlers getting cut now. Just to name a few off the top of our heads would be Drake Maverick was cut. We're going to look at, a couple of producers. Kurt Angle was cut. Gregory Helms, known as the Hurricane, was cut. And then you see a lot of these long-term guys that are being cut as well. Mike Chioda, who's been a referee in the WWE since 1989.
I can't remember life without Mike Chioda, to tell you.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where wrestler, producer, or even a referee, if Mike Chioda of all people isn't safe.
So I wrote down the list right now. It's the guys that unfortunately are unemployed at the time. Gallows and Anderson, Rusev, Mike and Maria Kanellis, EC3, and they said then you got longtime guys. You got Heath Slater, Zack Ryder, Kurt Hawkins. New guys, No Way Jose, Aiden English, Leo Rush. I mean, that's not all of them, but that's a few. But the way I'm looking at this, Ty, and you know what? It sucks that they're out of a job. But honestly, with the exception of Anderson and Gallows, and I know Mike Kanellis was on 205. No one watches 205. I watch it from time to time. Love seeing Mike Kanellis on it. A lot of these guys weren't doing anything anyway. Like this now, I feel like this is almost like, yeah, it's bad news that they're out of a job and whatever, but this is now their new lease. Like now, like, okay, like where are we going to go? Can I go to Impact? Can I go to AEW? Can I go to back to Ring of Honor? I know Anderson and Gallows have already apparently cryptic tweets about going back to Japan, with new t-shirts that they're putting out. So you know what, you got to take the good with the bad here. This could be new. Like imagine, Rusev in AEW would be awesome. I think Mike Kanellis, and I can finally go back to calling him Mike Bennett. Mike Bennett in AEW would be awesome. Him and Maria running around AEW, I think that would be great.
Yeah, so I mean, this is definitely, despite where everybody goes, excuse me, that was released a couple weeks back. Cody Rhodes has been doing an interview with. He did a sit down with, I forgot who it was, but he had been saying that AEW wants to start their own kind of two-show system, like how we have Raw and SmackDown. So this could be a very good way for AEW to bring in some talent to fill out that second roster.
I love it. More the merrier. More the merrier. And, we got 3 days of the week right now that don't have wrestling on. What are we doing here, boys? We need more wrestling on TV here.
Yeah, we need something. Talking on a personal standpoint for a minute, the guy obviously it broke my absolute heart to see a guy like Zack Ryder go.
Well, you're a Long Island guy. That's it. That's your guy right there, right? Zack Ryder.
That's our guy. Rusev was kind of one of those things where, once they start announcing all these releases and you knew he had wanted his release for a while, as is, because he wasn't going to sign, it was kind of, I would want to say inevitable that he was probably going to get it. So that one didn't come as much of a surprise to me. But
that wasn't.
Things that really upsets me about the entire thing is, I get it. Wrestlers are losing their jobs. They're losing money. At a time right now, it doesn't look like, you don't know when these guys are going to go back to work, if they're going to go back right away, if they can't go back for a while. So it's one of those things where, like, I understand people being upset that these guys are being released, but like you said, these guys weren't being used for anything. They basically wiped out the entire 24/7 championship division.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yep. Which is proudly held by Rob Gronkowski right now. So Gronk, more props to you, brother.
Yeah, I forgot you're a Patriot fan.
Yeah.
I told you guys.
I don't know why you guys are talking all this stuff of football. I heard the Detroit Lions rant and everything. It's great. Nice cheap shot on the Eagles. I'm all about that. The Patriots are winning it all. It doesn't even matter.
Well, I'm a diehard Eagles fan, so that's
that's where that comes from. Gotcha.
Right? Yeah. Gotcha. So, but to talk about Detroit and the culture change in the Motor City, bringing in the Patriot way and everything. So, Tyler, I'm sorry, I just had to throw.
No, you're good.
No, definitely.
So Al, another question I have for you that I didn't bring up before that I saved for now.
Oh.
There was a couple of things going around where Zack Ryder obviously was released. Kurt Hawkins had someone had tweeted at him asking him what they thought he would do, and Kurt Hawkins personally believed that if Zack Ryder was released, he would be retiring. But now I don't know if you saw on Instagram, Cody Rhodes put out his tribute to Zack Ryder when he was released. Now there's a lot of speculation that he's going to go to AEW. In your personal opinion, what would you like to see him do?
With Zack Ryder specifically, I think the obvious thing is you want to see the sweet life of Zack and Cody, right? You put him with AEW with Cody Rhodes, make him a tag team, put him on Jericho's ship, and have everyone go smooth sailing.
That's great.
Yeah, it was wherever Zack goes. See, the answer isn't always AEW. I know that's the one that's on TV and everything. There's Ring of Honor. I know Impact. I think they're in Canada. I think right now, if I remember correctly. I lost track of Impact, unfortunately. Japan's always a thing. I don't think Zack Ryder's going to go over to Japan, but AEW. I don't think is the exact answer for everybody. But Cody's friends with all these guys. Cody was in WWE when all these guys, when Heath Slater and Zack Ryder, Kurt Hawkins, they were all there. So it wouldn't shock me at all if Cody just reached out to him and be like, "Hey, let's go,"
Yeah, and seeing that Cody Rhodes was, he's pretty much friends with everybody. Obviously he seems to be very good at not burning his bridges with anyone. Remember back around 2011, 2012, Cody Rhodes was in WWE with Luke Gallows when he was with CM Punk and Selena.
Yes.
I don't know how good their friendship would be. Do you think at any point he could maybe sway Gallows and Anderson away from New Japan and go to AEW?
It would be a lot of money. I mean, it's going to throw him a lot of money, and probably what's arguably, other than New Japan, probably the best tag division in wrestling is AEW. You got all the big boys over there. I mean, that tag division would run roughshod, with the exception of maybe New Day and Usos, and of course Miz and Morrison. Hey, ho, ho. AEW tag division with Pentagon and Phoenix, and then you got the Jurassic Express. Dude, Luchasaurus is amazing, but it would be a great addition to him. It would be a great addition to an already stacked roster, and I'm sure they would have a lot of time for him to use.
Yeah, they have quite the roster going on over there for the tag team. Personally, I think Gallows and Anderson end up in New Japan, like everybody else would think. I just think they're probably going to want to go somewhere they know they're going to be comfortable and they know they'll have steady income. Not that you wouldn't have steady income as a wrestler, but they know that they're a draw there. As far as Zack Ryder goes, I definitely want to see him in AEW because I feel like WWE for 15 years definitely did not showcase what Zack Ryder's true talent was.
No, I mean, you can say that a lot about it, guys. Rusev, but he was used right in the beginning, then he was used wrong, used right. You can say that about everybody. All those guys, they're professionals for a reason. It doesn't matter what sport you're in, whether it's baseball, football, and it's wrestling. You get to that point, you're at the top. All those guys can go. Drake Maverick can go, and I know we're gonna get to Drake Maverick in a second because he's in the cruiserweight tournament I want to talk about. But Drake Maverick is a great wrestler. And, you didn't see that in WWE. You didn't really see that all that much in Impact. I guess I think you did towards the end. But, hopefully we see this out of Drake Maverick. I said we'll get to him in a second. But just going back to AEW for the second, a little bit of a switch of the topics here. Jon Moxley, first AEW championship defense this past Wednesday, beating Jake Hager. I know I'm going to slip with his name. You gotta bear with me. I know it's Jake Hager. I'm going to call him something else, and I'm going to apologize for that now. But he beat Jake Hager, empty arena, no holds barred match. Did you end up watching that?
I have not watched it yet. I obviously did my reading about the match online just to educate myself as best as I could. I can only assume it was a good match. Dean Ambrose or Jon Moxley, whoever you want to call him.
Yeah, you gave this first slip. That's right. I mean, we have to do something. We have to do something when we slip on guys' names. We have to call him Ambrose too.
I gotta figure something out. But what back in his time in WWE, formerly known as Dean Ambrose.
There you go.
It was very hard to try and pick out a bad match he had. Even his worst matches, you could still say that was a very good match. So from what I read and the research I tried to do on it, I would be surprised to find out it was not a good match.
No, it was good. It was good. It wasn't one of either of their best matches, but it was definitely, like I said, empty arena, no holds barred. But the thing is, I guess maybe why I kind of wasn't as excited as much about it. we've been seeing a lot of between what Edge and Orton did at WrestleMania, and then between what Ciampa and Gargano did in their empty arena match last Wednesday. I don't know if they just ran out of ideas or if the arena that AEW's in doesn't have a lot of the toys that I guess the other guys use. But they beat each other pretty good. They went around the whole arena, chairs, tables. They did what they could. They didn't see any blood spill. I think that was the one thing missing. But I guess you can't really complain if people keep the blood in the body. For me, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely going to have to – I'll definitely educate myself on that match today, and we'll definitely revisit that next week briefly so I can give you my true, honest opinion when we're back on. So let's get into these Money in the Bank qualifier matches.
Yeah, so as I say, we're going to do this. As I'm sure you guys know, as I've Tyler told you, but for those watching, I started a website called ProWrestlingPeckham.com. Nothing in the world that I've seen is out there about this. Pretty much, I'm a big football guy. I'm a big sports guy too, guys. Wrestling just isn't my life. Work professional sports team, huge Patriots fan, big Mets fan. The one thing that there isn't anything out there, if you go to like Yahoo, ESPN, all these other companies, they had pick'ems for all these sports, including, I think, UFC. I'm pretty sure they have things. There's nothing for WWE. There's nothing for professional wrestling. So I created a site, and it's pretty much just like your normal football pick'em league. Week one, you got these teams, pick your winners, whoever has the most points at the end wins. So that's pretty much the concept of my site. So I love picking winners. I love talking about matches and predicting the outcomes. That's a little bit of my thing. So this past Monday on Raw, actually this upcoming Monday on Raw, we have 3 Money in the Bank qualifying matches, Tyler. On the men's side, we got Rey Mysterio against Murphy, which honestly, the first time I saw it, they announced that match, and I didn't know I wanted to see it until they announced it. And now I'm extremely excited because I never put those two together, and I think this is going to tear it down.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we're well aware of what Rey Mysterio is capable of. He's been wrestling since before I was around. And again, Murphy, he's definitely come into his own since he's gotten his
stud.
Stud. I mean, especially now that he's being showcased a little bit better. The last few months when he was running with Seth Rollins, he was getting a lot more TV time on Raw. It's going to be a great match, no question about it. If I had to pick somebody for this match, I am going to pick Murphy.
Nice.
I think just the problem, not the problem, but the thing with Rey Mysterio is obviously I think I don't want to say overstayed his welcome, but I don't think people are really interested in seeing the old as much as they were with the new, unless your name is The Undertaker. So I believe this is definitely going to be a way to get Murphy pushed a little bit further. Even if he doesn't win the match, it definitely showcases his ability in another match type.
Yeah, that'd be great. I honestly, Tyler, I don't know off the top of my head. I've been thinking about this match. I have absolutely no idea. I'm going to go with Ray based on experience, but it's not going to shock me at all if Murphy beats him and then Murphy shines in the Money in the Bank ladder match and does everything. He would be perfect for that match. I'm not going to be mad at all if Murphy wins that match. Then we got Aleister Black, who is probably going to be my pick to win this whole thing. Win the briefcase come 3 weeks from now. But he's got his qualifying match against Austin Theory, which I guess now is a Raw superstar. I believe he graduated NXT, and I believe record time 2 weeks before we're getting the call up with all the injuries and suspensions and everything that's been going on. That's got to be a record for him. But I don't see him getting past Aleister Black. What say you, Ty?
I'm going to go Aleister Black on this one, too. Strictly under the circumstances of everything that happened with Austin's Theory. When you take into account the seniority, obviously, because that from time to time does play a role in a wrestler, unless they're super, super over with the crowd. Also taking into account with Austin Theory doing his thing with this new stable that they seem to be creating. I would have to sway more to the fact that Austin Theory is going to end up in a tag match of Money in the Bank.
Oh yeah.
So I don't think it would make too much sense for him to win this.
All right, so we'll speed this up a little bit along. I know Nick and they want to get back to the regular show. Okay, just real quick. Apollo Crews will beat an MVP. You got that one?
Yeah, that's.
I want to see. On a side note with that, I want to see Apollo Crews. I want to see if MVP is going to start doing a stable here. Get Crews, get Ricochet, get Cedric Alexander, get those in there. And then real quick, we'll touch on one last thing before we start rapid firing these picks here. Drake Maverick. Like I said, we're going to get back to him. He was released, but they're giving him, before he was released, he was entered into the Cruiserweight Championship Tournament. Then they released him, but they're giving him these 3 matches for him before he goes. How awesome is that? And how hard are you rooting for Drake Maverick right now?
I'm pulling for Drake Maverick to have the 3 best matches of his career he can possibly have.
Yeah, he's saying in that video too. He's putting everything on the line. He put that tear-jerking video online right after he got released. It was hard. It was hard to watch.
Yeah,
he's gonna go give it everything he got.
Yeah, I was telling you earlier. I still haven't been able to bring myself to watch it because you just see how upset his face is from the thumbnail, and I can't. I feel for him. I do.
Yeah. So we're gonna go Drake the whole way. All right, Kushida and Tony Nese. I know we want to talk about this match forever, but we're running out of time here.
Yeah, we're running. I'm gonna take Kushida.
Yeah, I'll go Kushida too. They got Jack Halger against El Hijo de Fantasma making his debut. I think I've unintentionally seen him before Lucha Underground, so he's pretty good.
You know what? I'm going to take the new guy on that one.
Yeah, I'll take Gentleman Jack. I'll go against you on this one, Scrub.
Okay.
All righty. And then on the AEW, they have their own TNT Championship Tournament going real quick. Darby Allin versus Sammy Guevara. The winner's going to face Cody in the semifinals of the TNT Tournament.
Give me Darby Allin.
Yeah, I would like to see Darby and Cody go. I think we're done with Cody and Sammy. I think we're done with that. Put that, yeah, that'd be a great match. And then we got Dustin Rhodes and Kip Sabian, and the winner's going to get destroyed by Lance Archer. Who do you got?
Give me Dustin Rhodes.
Yeah, no, why not? Why not? All right, and then tonight, qualifiers tonight. Money in the Bank qualifiers. You got on the men's side, you got Daniel Bryan and Cesaro, which is going to be awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be a fantastic match, and it's another one of those where you can go either way.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. We got the yes chance going.
There you go.
It's another one of those.
That's the origin, of course.
It can go either way. Give me Cesaro.
All right, see, because Joey did the yes chance, I'm going to go Daniel Bryan. We'll do that. So I'm not going to be shocked.
Well, that's exactly why I took Cesaro.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly. All right, on the women's side, you got Naomi beating Dana Brooke. That's pretty odd. Dana Brooke's going to have a tag title match coming up.
Yeah, so
Carmella are going to be tagged. They're going to be challenging for the tag title. So I don't know. I don't see her winning this.
That's going to be in there. I'm going to go Naomi there.
All right, and then of course, the SmackDown tag titles on the line tonight. We're not even going to discuss it because the Miz is in it. The Miz is going to win it. This is not even going to be up for debate. Still, Miz and Morrison. Hey, ho ho. Guys, thank you very much for having me on. I truly appreciate it.
So Al, and cannot thank you enough for being here as well. So I do want to chime in before you do leave, if you don't mind, if you could just turn.
Not at all. And actually, I did forget. I do have one last thing I just want to share real quick.
Of course, yes.
Okay. Before I leave, just real quick. Yeah. With everything that went on this week, WWE had a huge loss of life the other day. Yes. Old school ring announcer Howard Finkel. Now,
yep.
I just turned 40 years young this past October. I've been watching wrestling. My first wrestling event was SummerSlam 1988. All right, I was this little kid, didn't know who was who, and then I saw this big jack guy with face paint and streamers, and he came out. His name was the Ultimate Warrior, and he just dropped this guy who looked like Elvis Presley. I didn't know what was going on. Dropped him, pinned him in like 10 seconds, and then I heard it for the first time. Actually, just got goosebumps thinking of it. And it was Howard Finkel announcing the Ultimate Warrior as the new Intercon. Yeah. And it's the voice of my childhood through my teenage years into my college years through the Attitude Era. He was around there forever. And I know Howard wasn't doing well. Unfortunately, I think this day was inevitable, but just for me and from Pro Wrestling, picking him from everybody, thank you, Howard Finkel. Thank you so much. And I'm sure when it's my time to go up there, you better announce me at the pearly gates going in there. You know what I'm saying? I want him announcing me.
Yeah, there you go. Absolutely. Well, you know what? It's me as an aspiring sportscaster. I really hope that when I get up there, Mike Emmerich will be announcing me as well. So before we do go, Tyler, if you do have to run just prior to Golden Stick Wiffleballs, Mike Valenti, I know you're preparing for that, so you can run if you have to.
Yes.
So yeah, absolutely. But Al, first off, turn your hat around for the, because I believe I'm gonna say I hope that is the right. No, I meant like say that's.
I know what you're saying. I want to see what you think it is though. What is it?
I'm not leaving yet.
I'm going to say that is, and with that reaction, that is a Rangers hat.
That is incorrect.
Okay, good. We are on the same wavelength. Very good. Okay, good.
There you go.
So now, you said that you actually have your own website. Please tell us where we can find your show and tell us the name of your show as well.
Well, let's say I don't have my own show yet. So my show is going to be with Tyler once that starts up, Essential Wrestling Podcast. Like I said, I started this website, ProWrestlingPick'em.com. Very simple, basic, stupid name. So thank God it was available for me. Like I said, no one's done this. You can go on. It's just like an NFL pool or a baseball pool, whatever you want to do. You can create pools with your friends. You can join a public pool. If you want to throw some money on the side, that's on your end. I'm not dealing with any money from the website. This is not a gambling site for entertainment purposes only. Gotcha. And pretty much, I pretty much update the sites, all the matches for all the pay-per-views. Right now, I'm just doing pay-per-views. Once I can, make money off this and retire, and my job can do this 100%. Sure, I'll do Raw, SmackDown, try to do everything live. See how that works out. But right now, it's just we're just doing pay-per-views. So, once or twice a month, you can go on, you can make your picks, play against your friends, prove you're better. And just have some fun with it. This is the one thing that's we don't have fantasy wrestling. There's no pick'ems in wrestling. It's not like all the other sports. I think Vegas tried to do Vegas odds with wrestling, and I think it backfired hugely.
Yeah.
So so this is something that started about 1.5 years ago. It was around Christmas last year. It launched. We're still in baby, still in production. I got a lot of things coming. So once I get past my wedding, I'm getting married in July. Once I get past my wedding and take some of that and start throwing it back into the site, we'll have some stuff to get people there every day. And that's the goal. I want people there every day to play.
Good. Well, congratulations on your upcoming nuptials, even though it is, I can't believe it. It feels, like I said, even though it is April 17th, July, really, with, if this is all still going on, it's going to feel like a lifetime away. But again, from myself, the Eastern Observer, congratulations on your upcoming nuptials for you and your current fiance.
Thank you very much, Joey.
Wife. Absolutely.
Thank you.
So definitely, like I said, we cannot thank you enough for being here with us, Al. Ladies and gentlemen, Al Carl.
Thank you very much for having me. Same time next week, right? We'll be back next week. I'm good.
From what Tyler has told me, yes. Until you guys are officially on the air. One last thing before you go, Tyler did not mention the title. What is the title of the new show going to be on the Eastern Observer?
Well, that's what we're going to stick with, the Essential Wrestling Podcast. I think you guys deemed us essential. That's not on us. You guys named us.
Very good.
I guess the state of Florida named us. How about that?
There you go. I like it. So
the Essential Wrestling Podcast.
Very good. So the Essential Wrestling Podcast, there will be much more information on that on the EasternObserver.com probably after the show. Al Carl, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much, Al. Have a great night, and we'll see you next Friday night.
Definitely, guys. Enjoy. Have a great rest of the show.
Thank you very much.
I'll take it easy.
See you soon.
Thank you. So now we're back here with the three of us here on the Primetime Rundown, the Eastern Observer, the Blackjack Media Networks. We're just waiting for Mike Valenti, who looks like he is about to come in right now. We will get to our topics in just a moment. Moving forward, one thing that we do want to say for our next segment following this interview, we will be discussing the PGA Tour and their return with 4 events through Thanksgiving. We'll discuss how the three of us feel about that, because that is going to be the grand hurrah of sports being welcomed back on planet Earth. Mike Valenti, very nice of you to be here. Golden Stick Wiffleball. I'm Joey Jarzynka. That's Nick Partain. Tyler Adelle, please take it away.
Again, stealing my words. Thanks. Ladies and gentlemen, Mike Valenti of the New York Dark Knights from Golden Stick Wiffleball League. Mike, first thing I'm going to ask you that I've been asking everybody.
What's up?
How you doing? Are you safe? Are you well?
I am safe. Family safe. Wife is doing okay. We're just getting bored down here.
Yeah, I feel you. On a personal note,
want some whiffs?
I'm glad everything's okay. Glad you're doing well. Hopefully, we'll be seeing each other at Wiffleball very soon.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, well, I mean, with New York, so shut up, you stupid watch. With New York's, stay-at-home order being held till May 15th now, we barely making that cutoff by 2 days. So I'm hoping it's May 15th.
That's not looking too good.
Yeah, it's not looking
That's
too.
not looking promising.
I have hope.
Not looking promising.
So, tell us about the Dark Knights, because as everybody knows, last week with Anthony D'Oria, a lot of praise going around for you guys.
I know. I saw that. We all saw that. That was pretty interesting. Just explaining, letting you guys know about the Dark Knights. We're a 5-man team. 3 of us, my 2 younger brothers play on that team. And then our 2 closest friends, Tyler Khan and Daniel Hargaden. So, we joined in 2015, I believe was our first year in the league. We were okay. I know you said on the interview that we barely scratched a win. We got a couple wins the first year.
It happens. Look, everybody
a couple wins
in the beginning. But one of the things we definitely made sure to mention, you definitely, as a team, caught on a lot faster than most first-year teams do.
Oh, yeah. Oh, definitely. We had our ups and downs. First year wasn't too good. Second year, I believe we did better in our second year. And then I think our third year, which was 2017, I believe that was the year that midway through that season, we kind of turned it on and upped our game, kind of turned our franchise around from there.
So, and one of the other things that we made point to mention was, it's very rare, as for teams to come into this league with the 3, 4, in your case, 5 people you start with. And all this time later, now going into your guys', this will be your 5th year, still the same 5 guys.
Oh, yeah.
For like I said, for a lot of teams to get to where you guys are at now, where you're winning super qualifiers and taking out the enemy in the New York playoff, you don't see that from a team without having to make major additions with a power hitter or an ace pitcher, and you guys did this all internally.
Absolutely. Like what you see a lot of, in the league, you see a lot of jumping around, like team jumping. A lot of guys like forming these super teams, and you see a lot of them in Yard League at least. And the 5 of us, we've stuck together. We were bad. I keep saying, we were bad our first 2 years, and then we just grew from there. We learned how to play. We practiced a lot, and we got experienced, and then kind of took off last year. Last year was the year we kind of put it all together.
Yeah, I think it's definitely safe to say that was a breakout, and breakout's still an understatement.
Oh yeah,
it was. And you as well as I do, super qualifiers are certainly not the easiest things to win.
No, there's a lot of good teams in that league for sure. Got to go, especially to win a super qualifier. Once you get done with pool play and you get in that playoff round, you're going to be facing a lot of good teams, especially as you keep going naturally through that playoff round. There's a lot of good teams in Yard League and a lot of good pitchers. So you really got to be on your game, especially once you get to that semifinal. You face a lot of good pitchers in Yard. For sure.
Yeah. And I think, obviously, I won't even call it the one of the hidden secrets, but definitely, obviously, if you want to, I want to say have an easy pass, but definitely the best way to do it would be 3-0 in pool play.
Yeah, and the funny thing about that is, too, the qualifier that we won, which was Yard 2, that was the second tournament of the year, we did bad in pool play. We started that 1-2 in pool play, and we were absolutely atrocious during pool play that day. And then we just turned it around. Once we got the playoff game, everyone got big hits. They grinded out at bats, walks. We pitched well. We played good defense, and we just turned it on from there. But we were bad in pool play. So a lot of good teams.
Pool play is a big thing for a lot of teams because we had a couple of, there was definitely some situations for, the Royals for ourselves where we would go, 1-3 or 2-1 in pool play, and then everything would go downhill from there, and we can't figure it out. And then you realize you're playing teams like I'm not going to say any names, but you're playing teams like the Storm, in pool play.
Yep. And
your first round, you're like, all right, you're going to play usual suspects, and you're the away team.
That's a tough hill to climb right there.
Yeah, and obviously it's just it's something me and Fu were talking about last week. You have to play every game as if it's the first game of the year. You can't reminisce on the game before or striking out looking on the last pitch last week. Every game is a brand new season, and that's the easy way I found to get through games. Yeah,
and something that we do, we play every game with a lot of intensity. As you probably, we're probably one of the loudest teams. You could probably hear us from all the way on field number 1 to all the way on field number 8. Yeah. You could hear us yelling in the first game, probably first inning of pool play. So we like to keep that intensity going throughout the whole entire tournament.
Yeah, definitely intensity is one of the biggest things, especially in wiffleball, because if you keep that energy going and you will keep yourself, I almost don't want to say awake, but you keep yourself hyped up and you keep yourself, you almost have to give yourself a chip on the shoulder. Like no one's going to touch you. You're going to go through the day. You're going to get to the super qualifier and you're going to take home all the money.
Yeah, well, there's obviously no crowds in wiffleball, so you got to kind of make your own noise. You got to amp yourself up,
Yeah, I mean, especially some of the music that's played there. I'm not going to mention any names for real this time, but I'm not listening to Frank Sinatra while I'm playing wiffleball. Forget it.
Right, yeah, and there's certain teams that play that kind of music. I don't normally like playing on that same field when that, that kind of down.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Yeah, it's one of those things you can't really avoid because, you're not going to be the guy to tell the guy to turn off his music.
Right. But it might not be your first choice of music.
Yeah, you definitely have to. You definitely make sure you have a pair of headphones for sure. Right. I mean, I'm sure you see me for my routine. My routine hasn't changed for 9 years almost now. Actually, no, this will be year 9. My routine hasn't changed in 9 years. If I'm pitching a game, I'm off on the sideline. I got my headphones in. There's a very good chance Slipknot is blowing out the speakers in my earphones, and don't bother me for 10 minutes. Let me get into my rhythm.
There you go.
And there's a lot of people like that.
Oh yeah, you see a lot of the guys in the league. They have their own routines that they have.
Yeah. Everybody's got their own little thing. Like referring to the screwballs for the second. They basically go to physical therapy after every game with all the equipment and tools they bring with
the
them.
Warm ups. They take their time to warm up.
Yeah,
their time. They get ready. They get their body loose. A little Bloody Mary too before the game.
Yeah, I mean they're an interesting group of guys, but they also know how to ice you too. So they're smart. So what are we looking like this year? What's your plans? Like what's anything new for the Dark Knights? New uniforms? We
actually do have new uniforms. I believe Danny and Matt were the ones who kind of worked on the uniforms. I think Matt had the final say in the final design on these uniforms. But they're looking really nice. So normally we have as you see the sweatshirt that I'm wearing, this is normally like the OG jersey, but in.
Yeah, I remember that's pretty much the scheme you had in year 1.
Yeah, this is basically it. So this is basically our colors. Last year we did like just an all black jersey with the yellow logo. This year we got, I think it's like a gray button down jersey all the way down. And then it's got, I think the logo is in black and the Dark Knight, the team name goes through the logo this year. Really? It's really a nice jersey. Really nice. We're hoping to debut it on opening day whenever,
Yeah, whenever that might be. It's probably December at this point for all.
Yeah, hopefully for goal, we could break it out.
So I know you guys also have you do a lot of stuff for your Instagrams and your YouTube of all of your film highlights from the season. Where can anybody who's trying to become a Dark Knight fan check you guys out?
Oh man. So if anyone is looking to see some really good wiffleball content, you want to get hyped up, you want to see what wiffleball is all about, go on our Instagram because that'll have a link to our YouTube. So the Instagram is NY Dark Knights. And then from there, you could get to YouTube and there are a bunch of really high quality made videos by my brother, Matt. He's the guy who handles all the social media. He's the producer. He's probably the best producer in wiffleball. So
hands down.
Yeah, right. Hands down. He's always filming. That's the thing about our team.
He's still waiting for a goal home run. I was supposed to send him 6 months ago.
Yeah, but yeah. So if anyone go check out those videos, we have. I forget. I lost count on how many videos we have, but we have some really, really good ones, and I really recommend checking those ones out. And that's probably the reason why some teams kind of, get annoyed at us because Matt's always recording during every at bat, gets the angles and everything, and then the videos are sometimes obnoxious, but they're really good. They're really good.
No, it's gotten to me once or twice, but at the same time, I know it's for the greater.
It makes the league fun too,
Yeah.
Like I said, we're not playing golf; we're having fun out there.
Yeah, I like it, and you know me, I'm all for whatever makes the league good, better, what gives it more exposure. So yeah. I turn a blind eye to it.
I mean, honestly, teams probably kind of got annoyed at us like first year or two with all the filming and all the videos and everything like that. And we weren't that great, but we were competitive. But we just weren't on the upper level of the other teams, and we were making these videos. So that kind of got on other teams' nerves. But
it almost seems as if, in a way, it almost seems as if you guys were the trendsetters for that. Because now you have guys for filming and social media.
Oh, yeah. And now you see, the rest of the league is trying to build up the social media again.
Yeah. Freaky Franchise, they have social medias.
Yeah, a lot of teams do now.
Yeah, so you guys are almost like the pioneers for that. So they can hate you as much as they like and be annoyed, but
right.
Yeah,
I said that. That's how you're going to grow the league too. You know,
yeah.
If you really want to grow the league and show how great Golden Stick Wiffle Ball is. That's how you're going to grow it. Putting it on Instagram, social media, these interviews, things like this. This is how you're going to grow all the podcasts. That's how you're going to grow the league.
Something I'm sorry to interrupt, but Tyler and Mike, first off, cannot thank you enough for being here with us.
Thanks for having me
here tonight. Yeah, of course. Tyler, I think you might have to have a jersey announcement or a jersey unveiling on the Primetime Rundown if time allows it. And I think our new third host, the new sheriff in town, might have to be the one to unveil it.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, as long as everybody else from the Dark Knights approves and I won't get in trouble, we'll definitely
I would love to unveil the jersey. I don't have it with me personally. I don't have that jersey with me, but Tyler Khan and Danny do. I have a picture of it. I could maybe show it to you.
As long as they'll give me the approval, because I don't feel like getting sued by Dark Knights.
No, you have nothing to worry about. They would love to show it. They would love it. Matt, I think, has a video idea to unveil it. A little
really?
30-second to 45-second, something like that video that's gonna like unveil it.
Really so how about this? I'll get in touch with Matt.
Mm-hmm.
You get the video put together. We'll debut it on the show.
I would love that. I'm sure everyone else on the Dark Knights would love that. Matt would probably really love that. So that's definitely. Yeah, definitely. I think you guys would like it too. The idea of it. I know the idea of the video. It's really good.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, we definitely say we would love to have it. I'm sorry, Tyler, I'm stealing your thunder, if you will, but I do want to just throw in here and just to back these two up, where I was actually at one of these Sundays. And I personally think that the way you guys do it, and this was years ago. I don't know, Mike, if you were a part of it. I don't know. How long have you been a part of it?
2015 was our first.
2015. So I might have crossed paths with you. So at Eisenhower Park, for those that don't know, it's Eisenhower Park here in Nassau County, Long Island. You have eight fields, or you have one big field that's divided up into 8 fields. And it has got to be the coolest thing, where you have a whole bunch of adults, older or guys that are just out of college. And it's a great day. And the best part about it too, you see, it's spring, it's summer, you have the golf carts in the backdrop, or in center field. It's really a fun time. So I definitely give, I definitely endorse it for sure. For you guys, and especially for the New York Dark Knights. I'd love to see that jersey when it pops out. Tyler, go on. Yes.
Mike, one more thing, just for personal reference. You guys still have you guys still on Facebook and Twitter?
Yeah, they're on there. We're on.
You're still on there, okay? No, because I had my Twitter was hacked a while back. I'm still trying to find everybody.
No, we're on the Twitter. I'm pretty sure Tyler runs the Twitter now. That got taken away from Nick. Was running the Twitter, and that got taken away from Nick, and Tyler kind of took the reins on that one.
Poor Nick.
Yeah, poor Nick.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you can catch the Dark Knights playing whenever it may be this summer over at Eisenhower Park. Make sure to follow them on all their social medias: YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Mike, can't thank you enough for sticking around.
Oh, guys, thanks for having me. Enjoyed it.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's Mike Valenti, Golden Stick Wiffle Ball. Mike, thank you very much for joining us here, and we'll see you, I'm sure, when you guys unveil the jerseys. It should be a ton of fun.
Guys. No problem.
All right, great. So ladies and gentlemen, now back here into regular programming. 7:25 here on the East Coast. Number one, I do have to commend Tyler. Again, amazing moderating skills. It's just getting better and better. Okay.
Better than you, so
yeah, and my job is at risk. So now, yeah, sure. Excuse me. So now that we are back here alongside Nick Partain, Tyler Adelle. I'm Joey Jarzynka. Primetime Rundown episode number 22 is presented to you by the Nolan Carroll Foundation. We did not do that plug before. I do apologize to our good friend Nolan Carroll, who has been so good to us, former Philadelphia Eagles, Dallas Cowboys, and Miami Dolphins cornerback. Please visit his website, nolancarrollfoundation.com, for more details on how to donate for science and math, technology, and other issues in the inner city community. Please log on to his website and help out those in need. So Hank Steinbrenner, Yankees co-owner, passed away this past week at age 63. That is another loss. I really hope 2020 just can end, because so far it's been absolutely brutal. And I know, and I see that Nick is just.
I'm sorry, are we too boring for you?
Some of us had to almost kind of sort of work all day. So
no, I will say this. I will say this. Now, I usually in about a half hour is the time where Nick usually has his weekly Friday Chick-fil-A. So it's getting we're getting there. We're getting there.
I already ate dinner today, Joe. I wanted to be not starving when we were doing this like last. I have
all right.
my nice ice cream run that I'm waiting for.
Oh, so you actually have the itis then? Okay. Let's not forget Boston Red Sox World Series MVP Steve Pearce retired officially. He claims that they did not cheat. I don't really know if that's worth anything. It's probably worth about.
He's gonna say that. What else is he gonna say?
Yeah,
Depends on
exactly.
how deep you want to think into it. I mean,
Right.
I mean, has anybody looked at the 2018 Red Sox numbers?
Yeah, not really much.
That would be
They're,
absurd.
they're not like the, excuse me, they're not like the Astros where they were an unbeatable super team at home and subpar at best on the road. They were, pretty even on both sides of the ball. Just to touch back up on it really quick, in 2018, the Red Sox overall record was 108-54. 57-24 at home. Obviously, if there was a reason to, that might raise some eyebrows. But they were also 51-30 on the road.
Yeah.
If they were cheating, look, I know we're all Yankee fans. I hate the Red Sox too, but I'm also not going to sit here and bash them if I don't think they're wrong.
Well, right, and that'll be and again that'll be another conversation for another day. But no, I have to agree with you, Tyler.
Yeah, it's especially looking at every playoff series they had between the division, the championship, and the World Series. The deciding game for each of those series was on the road. So they were doing what they basically just got their job done. And looking at all of their numbers, looking at the player statistics, both home and away, there's really nothing that would prove that the Red Sox did anything wrong. Whereas opposed to the Astros, when you're looking at Jose Altuve's numbers and he's hitting 150 on the road and hitting 425 at home, that's blatantly obvious. Like, you're not even trying to hide it at that point.
Yeah,
I'm sure you guys saw the tweet the other day that Carlos Correa put out. Somebody made fun of it. I forgot exactly what it said. It's just so much fun to watch them get bashed for this whole thing. I love it.
Everywhere they post, anything they post just gets berated by every commenter everywhere. It's really fun to watch.
I'm going to see if I can find that tweet for you, because it was actually one of the funniest things I think I've read in a long time.
Well, we'll definitely have to share it following the broadcast. 7:30 Eastern time here on Long Island. The three of us are all broadcasting remotely during this global pandemic. Something that we always say, this is most likely going to be a once in a lifetime thing where we're going to be doing this. And when I say doing this, I mean, being sequestered to our homes, told to stay home. But who knows? Maybe if Nick's yawning one night, he'll just be staying home or whatever. And there it is. I said it on cue.
We're apparently horrible people, and we're putting this. Thank God he won't be here for the draft next week, because we.
Oh man. Well, listen. Hold on. We'll get to that later on. Another. Well, where did Tyler go? I don't know where Tyler went. But that's okay. As we figure this out, Oh, he's back. Look,
Technical difficulty. I unplugged my camera. I apologize.
Oh boy. Former defensive end Willie Davis was 85 years old. He passed away this past week. Just actually 2 days ago on Wednesday. Two-time Super Bowl champion, won Super Bowls 1 and 2 with the Green Bay Packers. He's was a five-time NFL champion, five-time Pro Bowler, 63 through 67, and he is also enshrined into the Pro Football Hall of Fame as well. He will be dearly missed. He played 162 games, made the All-Pro first team 5 times as well. So he is definitely someone that will be missed. Not a big name, but in Green Bay, he was definitely a big name there. So as we did say, I know it is, again, 7:30, and I have said this, but we have invited a lot of our Islanders friends here to listen. We will not get to there in a second. So Islanders fans, if you are listening in, cannot thank you enough for tuning in to the Primetime Rundown. This is a brand new thing that we're going to be doing every time we're going to be talking about the Islanders. We will be letting you know what time we're going to be talking about it. And right now, we're only 2 minutes and counting behind. Not too bad right now. Hopefully, we'll be we'll be on time next time we speak about the Islanders. We don't know when that'll be, but if there is significant news, you guys will be the ones to know. The biggest news of all this past week, the PGA Tour will be returning for 4 events through Thanksgiving starting in June. Nick, who has been, again, vocal on Twitter about a lot of this stuff, and just vocal in general, because that's who Nick is. I want to know your thoughts, especially after saying in the previous few weeks about basketball, hockey, etc., any sport. Are you on board with this?
Still no. There's still no reason to have sports right now. There's still no reason to put people in danger. Don't have people outside. Like, I don't know what people are listening to. You shouldn't be outside. You shouldn't be outside if it's not necessary, if it's not important. Who cares?
That's the one who goes to Chick-fil-A every night for dinner.
I do not go to Chick-fil-A every day for dinner.
I do. Calm down.
I had Chipotle delivered today. I ate it for lunch.
Terrible people.
My apartment today.
Everybody's a minimum of 50 feet apart to begin with.
But you're not supposed to be out. Why are we sending people out for no reason? It's sports. This isn't important.
Well, now I will chime in here. And again, we are 3 minutes and counting with our Islanders, with our Islanders faithful that we do hope are watching. And it doesn't.
They probably hate us right now. Way to go.
Right. And that's completely fine. But if they want a good segment, this is the time to stay in. I completely disagree. I personally, I was with Nick 155%. But as we are beginning to progress with antibodies, with mass testing beginning to happen, not fully there. And again, I don't want to get extremely political because that's another show for another day. That we all know that it's not a fun sight for me to do that. Now, with all of this happening, and because there's no fans, how many golfers are actually going to be on the course? That's the whole thing. And on top of it, they're going to be spread apart. And the whole thing too, and this is something that Tyler did bring up, and he brought up a good point. So I see it on both Nick's side, my side, and Tyler's side, is that if there is a day where it is humid, right? And you cough into the air, and let's think about it. Okay, it's not going to be like a cartoon, okay, where you cough into the air and then it floats, and then you have the Wizard of Oz theme song there. That's not how it works. It's going to be floating in the air, but slowly it'll trickle down onto the floor. Okay, that's just science. So yes, it is sports, but we're slowly seeing where things can come back in certain states. Stay at home is here. Stay at home is a lot of places, but a lot of these hotspots are in these major cities. And thankfully for the PGA Tour, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they're starting someplace out west. I don't know exactly where, but I believe they're starting in the warmer states down south, and not in an infected area or hotspot, if you will, as they say it now. Tyler, your thoughts?
It's going to go back to the same thing I said last week. If you can do this, if you could do this the right way, if you can do it and ensure the safety of everybody who needs to be involved, everybody right. From the number one golfer on the tournament to the cameraman. If you can ensure that every single person that needs to be in attendance is going to be safe and okay, go for it.
Well, that's the whole thing. And basically the problem is, and this is something that I know, and I know Nick's going to say this too, but one league had to take that leap because it was going to happen in a matter of time. And the problem is that if you all come out at the same time, there's going to be mass chaos. If you're going to all come out at the same time, because then someone's going to get reinfected and then it could be a whole thing. Now, I'm sure.
First.
Sorry?
Someone needed to be the first to do it.
Right, exactly. So golf, I guess, was, but exactly what we've heard before is that you'd rather the outdoor sports, and especially golf, because golf, tennis, where you are more than 6 feet apart, those are the sports that are going to slowly come back. And most likely we'll see a humongous boost in money, in revenue, because that's going to be like the Super Bowl. This is again
in revenue without anybody in attendance.
Calm down over there.
No,
I'm
because
$6 million for a commercial.
No. I said this is going to be. I forgot to add a period. This is going to be like the Super Bowl. It is a massive event, most watched, and I think that the first event in golf, I don't care what sport you like or you don't like, if it was WWE, if it was UFC, if it was a dog show, everyone will be watching because this is a historic event that you most likely will not see for the rest of your life or potentially for generations to come.
Debatable.
You could cancel everything else on television and I wouldn't watch golf.
And that's fine. But I guarantee you the other 325 million people in this country are going to say, well, this is a historic event.
No, they're not going to say this is a historic event. They're going to they're going to turn around and go, there's nothing else to watch. I might as well. I don't have much.
Exactly. So that's right. So that's what I'm saying. There's nothing else to watch.
It doesn't make it historic. It makes it there's nothing else to watch. It's a last resort option.
But it does. Yeah, but it doesn't matter though. But the good thing though for the PGA Tour is that that's the only thing that's on. So their ratings are going to go through the roof. And on top of it, it's going to make money for them. That's exactly how it is. And on top of it, looks like, well, I don't know the financial terms. I don't know the not only that, the insurance issues with, God forbid, if someone gets sick. I'm sure, obviously, if someone gets sick, everything gets put on hold. Everything, it all rewinds back to, the way it was here in March where everything is shut down. I don't know how it's going to work, but all I could say is that me personally, someone had to take the leap of faith. And here it was the PGA Tour. It's a matter of time. You cannot come out regardless of where you are. And in our state, we are told to stay home until May 15th. Okay. So then you're going to have other golfers with TV towers that you're going to have Jim Nantz all the way up in the booth. You're going to have Dottie Pepper on the greens. Okay. And Sir Nick Faldo up there as well. And there is nothing that can be done. The only thing that you have to do is you have to slowly open things up. You can't open it up so wide that when it all comes crumbling down, then we're going to be in even worse problem. That's why I commend the PGA Tour for trying something. And if the players are on board, I just spit all over my computer. If all the players are on board, if there's financial stuff that's there that are in favor of them, kudos to them.
I think
anyone else? Any thoughts?
Who cares? Let's go. Move on. Nobody likes golf.
So no one likes golf, but you still don't think that this is big for the world?
Absolutely not.
No, it hasn't even started yet. Let's see if it works.
Well, so I'm saying in June, we don't think that this is going to be an event where, I don't know, there's nothing, there's no baseball, there's no sports in the world.
You put golf back on TV, people are going to talk about it until the second another sport comes out, and then that golf event never happened because it's golf. Nobody cares.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Guess what? A lot of people like golf. Maybe not you, because you're a hockey guy. You're a WWE guy. Guess what? I don't like WWE. I don't like WWE. Let me tell you something. You say WWE is, whatever. Well, guess what? To me, golf is whatever. So it doesn't matter. So we can agree to disagree about golf.
I'm not saying that you're wrong for your opinion. I'm just saying that nobody likes golf.
Well, no one likes WWE then.
They do.
No one likes WWE.
That's fine. That's your opinion. I have no problem with
and
saying.
That's your opinion about
golf. I don't like
though.
WWE half the time. Sometimes the product sucks. What do you want me to tell you?
11 minutes past where we said we were going to go, and we still have the same viewers. Wow, those viewers, you guys, I swear to you, and I think the three of us need to thank those 5 viewers for sticking into that horrible argument.
Yeah, they're pretty.
I'm sorry?
They're pretty cool, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so. Nick's yawning again, but
it's all the golf talk.
Say it again. Say it again.
It's all the golf talk. I will come back on. I'll never have trouble sleeping again.
There you go.
Nothing like watching a 50-year-old man walk around for an hour and then finally tap his ball 3 feet.
It's all right, but he's making a lot more money than the three of us combined. So now we look at the New York Islanders, and this talk could take the next 18 minutes, and that's completely fine. But it's finally happening. Islanders draft choice goaltender from the KHL, Continental Hockey League in Russia. Ilya Sorokin will be signing his contract in 13 days, less than 2 weeks, 1 week and 6 days, ladies and gentlemen. Those Islanders fans that are watching and listening, Ilya Sorokin will be your new goaltender next year, most likely. Or will he be the backup? Tyler, Nick, let's hear it.
Nick, go ahead.
All right. We'll have to see next year. I think he's definitely going to be an Islander, but we don't know if he's going to even be on the team. He could very well start in the AHL the way Igor Shesterkin started this year. A lot of guys coming over from any European or Asian teams have to adjust to rink size. So he might be better off playing in the AHL for a month or two early in the year, get his bearings straight, get some time with the Islanders' legendary goalie coach and director, so to get himself acclimated before throwing him into the fire. We've heard whispers, we don't know how true they were, that he basically said outright, I'm not going to the AHL when I come. So we don't know exactly how it's going to play out. But we could see him in the AHL to start the year, and the Islanders bring in a different backup goalie to begin with. I don't think he'll be the starter right away. I think that is a definite. It'll definitely be Varlamov's net. Probably somewhat of a timeshare, but it'll be Varley over Sorokin until he proves himself to be an elite goaltender. But I really think if they can convince him to start in the AHL, that's probably the smart move. Let him make his mistakes down there. Let him get used to things being a little different. It'll only be a month or two. It's not going to be the whole season. And then bring him up when he's ready. He's kicking butt. His confidence is high. He can come up and dominate right away, instead of having to learn and adjust and get beat up a little bit in the NHL before having to figure everything out on the fly.
Yeah. And not only that too, but you also look at even though Ilya Sorokin will be coming and he will be, a New York Islander officially, 78th overall draft choice in the 2014 draft. It's very good to see that, he's coming finally. There were obviously the rumors that Tyler, I'm sure we'll address in a few moments. I don't know if they were rumors. I think they were actually legitimate, problems that he had with the previous administration with Garth Snow being a part of it. He was drafted by Garth and Jack Capuano and that whole crew. The Scooby-Doo crew, the Flintstones crew, rather. But it's just, it's mind-boggling because now you're going to say to yourself, well, we could potentially have Igor Shesterkin versus Ilya Sorokin. This could be the whole new thing. But hold on a second. This still is Semyon Varlamov's net. And yes, he was not Robin Lehner from a year ago. But now, exactly what Nick said, he has to get he has to convert now to an NHL-sized rink. And his demands, when he said, I'm not going to the AHL, I don't know how that's going to really work out for Lou Lamoriello, who is a general manager, a Stanley Cup winning general manager three times. And then with, obviously Barry Trotz doesn't really have a say in this, but with the new ownership and the new general manager / president, I don't see how that's going to work. Tyler, let's hear it because I see it written all over your face.
First of all, in what jurisdiction would Barry Trotz not have any say in his own roster?
No. Okay, then you know what? Then I didn't say it correctly. I'm talking about whether he will be able to, Sorokin that is, will Barry Trotz be in that room when Sorokin says to Lamoriello, I'm playing in the NHL only?
He'll absolutely be in that room. It's his roster. It's one of his guys, whether he's going to start in Bridgeport or he starts with the big club. He's obviously going to want to know what's going to happen with his guy right then and there, not an hour or two after when he's, an hour or two after they make all the decisions and it's probably already out on Twitter and social media for everybody else to see. I'm sure the last thing, obviously, he wants is to find out when the fans find out. So if anybody thinks that Barry Trotz isn't going to have any say or even be in the meeting with these two when it happens, whether it be on Zoom like we're doing or even over a phone call, you're insane. Going back to what Nick was saying, it's very hard for me to put the professional person and the fan in two separate bodies right now because the fan has been waiting 6 years for this guy to get over here and wants him to play the second he gets here. But the other guy, obviously, the professional side knows that he's got to obviously figure out, playing on a different size rink, learning a system, obviously. I think one of the biggest tells on where he's going to end up playing is going to be the contract he receives. Obviously, if he's getting a big money contract, because as we all know, Lou doesn't like to hand out years. He'll hand out a lot less years with more money if he has to get you, I guess, what you're looking for. Because if I'm correct, I don't think, with the exception of Ilya Kovalchuk, he's never handed out a deal over 6 years. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I think Anders Lee was 7.
7. Okay, so Anders Lee was 7 as well. But Anders Lee, as much as I don't agree with other things, and we'll get into that another time, he's still got a fairly low deal compared to what another team might have given him.
I don't know. I feel like he had a fair number. I don't think he would have got that much more on the open market. I really don't. He wasn't.
I don't think he would have gotten much more, but there I can think of a couple of teams that would have given him a little bit more.
Well, there was also the rumor. We're talking about Anders Lee, correct?
Yeah.
There were also the rumors last year where Chicago was going to hand out that $8 million deal for him, I believe, right, Nick?
That's what they want. They wanted to give him the same deal except an extra $1 million per year.
Right. Yeah. So, and if that was a rumor, if that was whatever, well, he talked his way up. And don't forget, last year was also the year in college basketball where you had coaches potentially on the move, and they were basically, they were the rumor mill. The rumor mill was hot, and it was, they were working up their price. And that's kind of, I remember, I think I said this last year, is that I felt almost like Anders Lee and his camp was kind of doing that, but that's just a sidebar. Go ahead.
Well, another one of those things that I would have to, I think you'd be a crazy person to not think it doesn't play into it, but the fact of the team themselves, it's a bad look for them if they lose 2 captains 2 years in a row. So in a way, Anders Lee, you could almost say he kind of had them right where he had them cornered if he wanted to, where it was either you don't have to pay me all the money, but you're going to look a little stupid when 2 captains walk on you back to back.
Focus on Sorokin.
I don't think it ever got to that point, though. He seemed to make it clear from minute 1 after it was signed that he never wanted to go anywhere, and he wasn't even listening to those Chicago offers. They were coming in, but he was like, oh, okay, I'm waiting to see what happens with Panarin to see what I do with the Islanders. Like, I don't think he ever even cared. He made it clear to his agent he didn't want to go anywhere else. I don't think really any pressure was felt anywhere because I think he basically told the Islanders, I'm coming back. I just want to see how much you can give me based on what you're going to have available.
Exactly. Right.
Right. Anyway, going back onto Sorokin, the only reason I brought up Anders Lee, obviously, was to talk about the contract. But like I said, obviously, I feel the more money and the more term you see Sorokin get right off the bat is going to determine how long he's going to play AHL games. If he plays AHL games, which it's for him to not play a month in the AHL would be, they must know something about this guy that we don't, that he's been doing like a private workout somewhere or something. Also, can consider the preseason where, with the exception of split squad games, he should be in net every game. There's no exception. The guy's this is the guy you want for the future. Obviously, if you have a split squad, he can't be in two buildings at once. He should be in the net for every preseason game. You need to do everything you can to get this kid ready. Especially would you, and this is a question that I think I would do as a general manager. God forbid Sorokin falters, or if he's not ready, maybe with Thomas Greiss being a UFA comes July 1st. Do you re-sign him? Do you re-sign another veteran? Both are going to be a veteran or Greiss are relatively going to be cheap. I think the ship has sailed on Thomas Greiss's time on Long Island, especially not because he's bad, not because he hasn't done anything here, and not even because of Sorokin, but the level he's been playing here, he's going to demand a little bit more than what he's making right now.
Right.
And it doesn't make sense to dump,
that money into
that much money into three goalies alone. Because Sorokin's going to get paid. Now, I don't want to say paid, but he's going to get a sizable chunk of change.
I don't think that's how it works. I think he technically gets an entry-level contract, being he hasn't played for us yet. I don't know if it's the full 3-year one that most guys get because he's been.
I'm not sure what it is, but the only thing
he gets something weird where it might be a 1-year entry-level contract first before he becomes an RFA.
But it's still
one of have leverage to get big money.
Well, you have to also prepare for the term too, because whatever his entry contract is, whether it be a year at this point or whether it be the full 3 years at this point, it's the same thing. You have to prepare to have money ready for this kid, especially like I said, you have money dumped into 5 goalies in your system, and that's just Bridgeport. Then you have Greiss, then you have Varlamov, and then you're going to have whatever is going to come off the books with Sorokin. It just doesn't make sense to pay Greiss. If I'm correct, he's making 3.33 right now per year, and this is the last year of that deal. Yeah. He's going to want 4.5, and it just doesn't make that much sense to dump money into a second, possibly third string goalie.
I think personally that I think that's reaching at he's going to be 30, or let's see, he just turned 34 on January 26th, or sorry, January 29th. And he's going to command between 4 and 4.5. Tyler, I have heard.
Absolutely.
I don't think so. But who's going to give it to him?
He's half the reason. Anybody who desperately needs a goalie. Look at your own team in San Jose. They have no idea what's going on with their own goalies right now. Both of them.
San Jose is in it. 4 or 5 million to play with.
They don't have 30 cents to play with.
That's the thing. Last year we saw the goalie market dry up very quickly. The Islanders were the only ones to give up big money to a goaltender. A lot of the goalies that we thought were going to get paid, Robin Leonard had to settle for a 1-year deal. So a guy like Thomas Greiss isn't on Leonard's level. So
right, and that's
probably not going to see him get a big deal unless there's a special spot out there that's a perfect fit that's looking for a goalie and is willing to give him the money.
Right.
And there's still teams out there that need a goalie and they're willing to make a stupid decision to do it.
No, I know, but the problem also is too, and this is another thing too that this pandemic has caused too. Originally, the salary cap was between, I think it was $84 and $88 million. It was going to go up a few million dollars. I don't know. I don't know how that will be affected.
I'm hearing whispers it'll probably be a flat cap, and it's not going to go up next year because of this.
Right. So
it'll probably go up this season, and next season it wouldn't get touched.
No, I heard that literally next season's cap could be the same.
Okay. No, I misunderstood you. But yeah, no, they might have to
that, but what happened was the last time this happened, they had a flat cap, I think because the lockout or something. There was some other situation where this happened, but they gave teams an amnesty type of buyout where you can pay the guy 2/3 of his contract over double the amount of years he has left, but it doesn't count against your cap. So they may do that kind of thing where every team doesn't get more salary cap space, but they can basically cut somebody and just have to pay them the cash and not have to worry about the cap ramifications of it. So teams might be able to create cap space that way, but I don't think the cap itself is supposed to go up. These are all just whispers for now. Nothing's been confirmed. If they end up being able to play the playoffs, it might get them some more TV revenue or something, and it might make the cap go up a little, because that's really what it all comes down to is the revenue they make goes into how much they have to give the players and how the CBA works. But we're going to have to see. I think what the Islanders are going to do for their goalie situation is if they truly believe Sorokin is going to be on the NHL roster from day one, and they probably know this by now, they've been scouting him forever. They know by now what they're going to try and do with him. If he's going to be on the NHL roster, they're not signing any other veterans. They'll have Christopher Gibson in the AHL. He'll be their third goalie, and everything will stay the same. If they think there's a possibility they'll keep him in the AHL, they'll probably sign somebody on a two-way deal, the best goalie they can get that can hang in the NHL for like a month or two and then be able to be sent down afterwards, because they're not going to sign Greiss because he's not going to take a deal like that. It's going to have to be a lower level guy who's a borderline NHLer who they might be able to get on the cheap for a 1-year deal that they can send down when Sorokin's ready. It's not going to be a veteran name. It's not going to be a big name guy. It's going to be somebody more like a Jared Coreau, who I think was in their AHL team this year, who's had some NHL games, who'd be capable of holding it down for a month with the good goalie staff that they have. That could work. But they're not going to bring in Greiss. Greiss is done. And I think it has everything to do with Sorokin.
100%.
Coming back.
Tiptoe around it. It is Sorokin.
Yeah, so he's been admirable. He's been a great goalie. What has he played? 4 seasons now with the Islanders? He had the original.
Who, Greiss?
Yeah.
4.
So he won in the playoff series, the first one in forever. He had to take over for Halak after he got hurt that year. He was amazing. He's been basically good every year besides the Doug Weight disaster year where everyone looked terrible defensively. Right. But every other year he's been a trooper. He's a great citizen. Everything has been great.
And he'll be loved on Long Island. That's for sure.
I heard about Sorokin. One of the first things I texted people was like, I feel bad for Greiss because he basically saw that news and was like, all right, this is the end of that. And
he's the odd man out.
A solid professional, steady goaltender. This past year he was a little amp, but even then his numbers were good. It was just the high standard that had been set wasn't being reached. Yeah.
So exactly what both of you said. Again, we still have our viewers here. Cannot thank you guys enough for still maintaining your enthusiasm with the three let's call us stooges, I guess. Now Tyler actually put in here. I didn't even realize this until he texted me this earlier today. Big news out of Winnipeg. Dustin Byfuglien's contract, defenseman. Dustin Byfuglien, his contract has been terminated. Now, I just want to throw in this little fun fact here. He is the last Atlanta Thrasher that came over from or was originally drafted by the Thrashers in Atlanta, was traded to, or I believe, or sorry, was no, that's terrible. I'm sorry. No, but no, I'm thinking of Andrew Ladd. Okay. This is,
fire him.
Yeah. We just, it's a good thing. It's 7:59. Yeah. So his contract is terminated. That was terrible. Again, good thing we still have a minute left. His contract was terminated. That's big stuff. Tyler, where does he go? Does he go anywhere?
If I was the GM, I wouldn't touch him. You know, for when you come out right away, and one of the first things you tell the press is you just couldn't find the passion to play anymore. That's kind of automatically a red flag that you're going to come to practices or warm-ups or whatever it is and just not want to be there, have a poor attitude, just basically there to collect your check and go home. That's not something I would want to touch. I think any reasonable GM right now wouldn't go anywhere near him. That's just my personal opinion.
Well, I think that was the whole point of this, is that he doesn't want to play anymore, that this basically means he's going to retire. I heard that he went to the GM of the Jets before this past season started, and this whole thing started with him telling the GM, I don't think I want to play anymore. I don't think I can because of my body. It was a combination of both. He ended up sitting out basically the whole season. And the whole dispute is just basically about how much of his contract he's owed. But he never officially retired or anything. So it was a very odd scenario. And they finally just mutually agreed to just scrap the contract. He doesn't get the last year of his deal. He doesn't get any of the money that he could have gotten from this season. It's all just thrown out. I think he's just basically going to retire. I don't think he wants to play anymore. He's been a very physical player for a long time. His body's got to be killing him. There's got to be a lot of injuries that he's had to fight through.
Big dude. He's taking a beating.
And also, thankfully, it does not affect the Jets' cap hit either, which is fantastic. It's a complete wash, and they still have about $3.5 million in cap space as of today, if the season was still going on. So just one more quick update. It is 8:01. Our show has concluded, but a couple of updates here. The WNBA draft is tonight. One of the best. Say it again.
Started at 7.
Yes.
INSU got drafted by the Liberty.
There you go. One of the best, if not the best women's college basketball players of all time. Sabrina Ionescu, point guard from Oregon, was drafted by the New York Liberty. Don't forget also NCAA news. Butler has landed South Carolina transfer Jair Bolden. That's big news for the Big East. Also, something that Tyler and I will be discussing, Nick will be working on Thursday night. The Jets are showing interest in free agent cornerback Logan Ryan. We'll see what happens there. So Tyler and I will be hosting a special on Thursday night, which will be a little bit off of our regular programming. We will be hosting Thursday. Time is still to be determined. But then the three of us will be back here on Saturday. Another time to be determined. We will get that to you via Twitter. Also, our website, www.easternobserver.com. Please do not forget to check it out and make sure that you are kept up to date with everything, the Primetime Rundown, Blackjack Media Networks, and the Eastern Observer. So again, for Nick Partain and our newest sheriff in town, Tyler Adelle, I'm Joey Jarzynka, and I had to kind of redeem myself after a horrible close here on episode number 22. So for those that were listening, and for those that will never tune back, I'll have to win your trust back. So long, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Every week, I wouldn't tune in either.